Okay, so I know there can be a lot of strong opinions on this next topic. Here it is. A parent wrote to Slate saying they've seen kids bully their 5-year-old child in front of their own parents who did nothing about it. And they want to know if they should confront the parents. Should they go and cage match?
How strongly people come out with an opinion. I'm not so strong. I think that it's a case-by-case basis. And I first want to know what we mean by bullying. Like, I think there's a range. There's, obvious hardcore picking on, if it gets physical, like that's like really, really problematic and troubling. But then there's like, I know my kid throws around the word, like I was bullied today. And when I ask him some details, it's like some kid was decided not to play with you. That's okay. That's not bullying necessarily. Like, get over yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I think that we have to I could see a situation where you could make it worse despite your best intentions. So let's say you call up the parent and you say, I heard little Johnny was doing X, Y, and Z. And let's say the parent really cares. Let's say the parent decides to talk to Johnny, and then Johnny goes to school and makes it worse. So ultimately, the kids kind of need to figure this stuff out for themselves.
Yeah. I think it depends on age.
I love it. Everyone's like, no.
Listen, I know why.
It's tough.
I can tell just by looking at this audience. There's only one man, so I'm not talking to you, sir, and I don't want to judge. But here's the thing: this is full of mama bears, right? And the thing is, I think there is the instinct. That is your role as a parent. Your role as a parent is to protect your child, even if the perceived threat is another child. You want to go to the parents and be like, you get your kid under control. Now, where I do agree with you is the idea, and I'm going to get to this. I think Derek has a story. Hold tight, Derek. I say this because I have a daughter who, I don't want to use the word bullying. There is bad behavior. And there is bullying, and between there's a whole world of difference. Bullying is repetitive, it is persistent, it is targeted, there's an imbalance of power. That is bullying. Someone saying you can't sit with us is not bullying. That's bad behavior, but it's not bullying. But my daughter this was a little while ago, was being targeted by one person over and over and over again, and it was physical. Now, she's smaller in stature compared to a lot of the kids, and she's a female. So people perceive her to be weaker. And I said to Ryan, how are we going to approach this? Mom and dad can't always be there with her, right? This was a few years ago, but still old enough that she could figure. She's 9 now. So we said, let's go the 3 strikes rule. This is going to get me in such huge trouble, but I feel like this audience is going to have my back. We're in this together, right? Yeah. Gonna get me in trouble. Strike 1. Someone does something to you, you immediately call them on it. That hurt my feelings, that hurt my body, don't touch me. If you do it again, I'm gonna tell the teacher. Strike 2, they do it again. You still tell them, you don't do that, this is my body, these are my boundaries, don't touch me. And now you go and tell the teacher, okay? Strike 3, if no adult is doing anything, strike 3, defend yourself. Now, I'll tell you why. I don't condone violence, but if my kid is not starting the violence, she certainly will be raised to defend herself. And the reason is, I cannot be there always in life. I'm not just raising a child. I'm raising a child who's going to be empowered to know I have a voice and I can defend myself. And guess what? Life is going to have a lot more of this coming. If I say, oh, come here, I'm going to call the parents. What am I doing? I'm making her feel like a victim. And I am not raising a victim.
Good for you.
Okay.
I like it.
Now, Derek, I heard you grumbling over there.
This is something
we going to fight? Are we going to fight?
We always think about the parents.
I'm sorry. I tried to just line up with you guys in the thing, but it was like sometimes you guys get me right in the numbers, and I'm like, So I can relate to this a lot. I know I get the instinct as when your kid's being bullied, there's that visceral, like it just, she's like a room full of mama bears. You're like, I will ruin you. There's that instinct. However, I know you may have this idea in your head of what the father or the mother of a bully looks like. Sometimes they look like Biff Tannen from Back to the Future, right? That's the image you have in your head. But sometimes you have a kid that's a little frisky, a little feisty, and a little bigger than the other kids, and sometimes the dad actually looks like a little speckled nerd in a flamingo shirt. With green pants. I'm just saying, sometimes the dad is doing everything that he can, and sometimes the mom is like, I don't know, for example, on top of my head, like a preschool teacher who's really good at raising a kid and has 2 daughters, and there's nothing you can do because your youngest daughter walks into a playground like they're a foreman at a lumberyard. and you're doing every damn thing that you can to raise a kid
So
right.
what would happen if I came to you and said, your kid is targeting my kid?
I would believe you, and I would be embarrassed by it because we're doing every single thing that we can. My point is, I'm just trying to say, mama bears out here, just pump the brakes a bit because sometimes the parents are doing every damn thing that they can.
Right.
And just watch nature versus nurture is all I'm saying, because sometimes the nature is good, but the kids still got some sparks in there, and they're going to come in and they're big, and they're going to knock a kid over because they're big.
So compassion.
Yes, they have passion, and they're just they're like a little taller and a little bigger, and sometimes it's just there. And if there's like a debate or a dispute on a playground, as there always is, they only win because they're like 30 pounds heavier. That's all. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, because I have two daughters, and the first talk I had with my daughter was because she was being bullied, and that talk was easy. And then the second daughter, we're having a discussion about possibly that she is bullying, and that is a much, much more difficult conversation. It's much more harder to navigate. It's much more harder to figure out, and it is embarrassing, and it's hard, and I'm little. Be gentle. Does any of this make sense? I have to interrupt you. This won't air, right? This is not going to air?
It's not gonna air.
This is just rehearsal, right, guys?
It's just us. Yeah. So is there maybe, are we lacking compassion? Like we always understand from the victim's perspective, but even, is this labeling even dangerous? Victim, bully for a little kid. I think that's dangerous.
I think that's.
I like it when kids just figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's a certain age where I remember like grade 3, grade 4. Like kids just figured it out together, and they would call out bullying behavior.
But what if your kid's coming home with bite marks on their body?
Oh my God, I would be.
It happens.
I want to hurt someone.
That happened to Daya.
Right?
That happened to Daya. I mean, he was 4, right? It did happen. Of course, I was concerned, but I recognized that the child was having trouble too, right? So yes, did I talk to the teachers and was like, let's make sure that this doesn't happen again? But was I mad at the parents? Was I mad at the child? No. I recognized that like this is not everyday behavior, and again, it wasn't a pattern. It wasn't consistent. This stuff's going to happen in life, and I think kids. You'd be surprised. Kids, for many scenarios, can actually pull it together and figure out how to navigate this stuff. It's part of life, dealing with bullying personalities. We deal with them as adults, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if the advice then to this parent is yes, call the other parents, or no, don't call the other parents. Good luck. Let us know how it turns out.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.